Welcome to the 624 Pod, your home for all things independent films. We're going to discuss all the positives and negatives when it comes to independent filmmaking. We're going to have incredible guests from the film industry talk about behind-the-scenes experience, the good, the bad, the ugly, and how the industry has changed in the past 10, 20
minutes.
30, minutes, hours, years. That's the point. It's always changing. And of course, we will always focus on independent filmmaking right here in our state of New Jersey. I'm Tom Baldinger.
And I'm Mark Riccadonna.
All right, let's do this.
All right, Tom. So tell me, who do we have on today?
Dude, we got a great guest. He's an amazing, accomplished actor. His name is Tony Denison. All the way going back to Crime Story.
Oh yeah.
The Closer.
Yeah.
Major Crimes. Fabulous actor. What's that?
Playmakers. And I'm also one of the 10,000 greatest guys in the neighborhood.
There you go. And Tony, you worked with Tony on our project Unsuited. So, welcome Tony Denison to the 624 podcast.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
My pleasure, man.
So Tony, I'm just going to start off and then just going to let you run. Talk to us about the current state of what's going on with SAG, WGA. There was a new settlement. Talk to us about that.
Well, as I understand it, the WGA has settled, though they have a deal, which the networks and studios are calling our final, whatever it's called, offer. Like it's kind of like, you take this or, go pound sand. But so they got to bring the particulars to the membership. There's like 11,000 members of WGA.
Right.
I don't know if they got everything they wanted,
It sounds like they did, though, right?
Again, when you get the information from the in-house newspapers, so to speak, like CNN and all, they're owned by the studios and the network. So, how are they going to report the stories? Oh, well, those wonderful people over there at, ABC and Netflix and all, they and Warner Brothers, and they came up with this really wonderful idea. And these dodo birds and the WGA should take it, but I don't know. It seems like it's a good deal.
Yeah.
And they got 11,000 people to say, I don't know what percentage of has to agree. However, for the actors, there's 160,000 members.
Right.
Now, a certain amount of us earn a living at acting full time, but also a greater amount than that vote. And so as long as it seems like it's reasonable, I think they will agree with it too. I mean, why not? I mean, it's been like 4 months now, 5 months. It's crazy.
Right.
So,
go ahead.
On a complete layman's terms, so for anybody who doesn't know what the strike is about, can you give a simple breakdown of it?
Well, as I understand, the strike is about, they keep going on about this AI thing, and also streaming. You remember in The Godfather when Sonny Corleone says to us, "There's a lot of money in that white powder, Pop. There's a lot of money in that streaming, Pop. And they, but like a lot of it, how do we judge it? They know how tall you are,
right.
How far you drove the day before, who's watching the show. They know who's streaming. But it's another bookkeeping, a thing that they have to do. And it's like, there's a lot of money there in streaming, just a lot of money. I mean, again, what percentage and if is it going to be a diminishing amount, like with residuals, which I never understood. Residuals, like you get from television or movies that show on television. Right. The residual scale tends to go down over time. Cost of living continues to go up, whether it's inflation or not. It just goes up, Yeah. So I never understood that. And hopefully that will be one aspect in streaming that they won't do, because I don't understand why it would go down, because people coming in and watching stuff, they watch it for the first time or they decide to watch it again. That they do know that, but that's not our fault as actors. And the other thing they have is, so I'm sure they'll work that stuff out. And the other thing is the AI, artificial intelligence.
Yeah, artificial intelligence.
And so they were like saying, like, oh my God, they can write the scripts and they don't need a writer. It's not entirely true, because AI is just a computer. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to get like, Terminator on everybody, but it's just a friggin' computer. And
Right.
at the end of the day, that computer has access to writings from all around the world of what's already been written. It doesn't go to some place and, find like dialogue and words that never wrote before. Like, not some like little computer guy sitting there going, oh, So what they do is they take it from places already existing.
Right. They take it from David Mamet's scripts. They take it from Aaron
They
Sorkin
may-
scripts.
They
They go,
may,
okay,
they may change a couple of things around, but the computer will take it from there. Not because it's a plagiarizer, but it's because it's
I know a
knows
lot
where to
of
go.
writers that do the same thing.
right. But at the end
Right.
of the day, what happens is, like, you can put into an AI thing, say, write me Hamlet and make it be about a bunch of guys in the Bronx,
Right.
and it would be a really interesting script. But since Shakespeare is public domain, you don't have to worry about suing Shakespeare. But now there's a lot of writers, novelists, who are saying, wait a minute, that passage in that little section that AI came out with, that's lifted right from my novel. And so there's lawsuits out the yin yang heading their way. But I mean, I think that it's, again, it's a lot of bookkeeping on the part of the actors,
Right.
the writers. I mean, it's a lot of, whatever. But I don't. Then they were saying, they want to buy the visual image of the background people and other actors. Harrison Ford says, well, I don't know. They were saying it's like Harrison Ford was thinking, well, it's an interesting concept. But if I'm Tom Cruise and you want to buy my image for AI for in perpetuity, I'm going to sell it to you for like $50 billion.
Right.
Because 25 years from now, if you're still using me, $50 billion is going to seem like, chump change.
Right.
So, but right now, $50 billion is a lot to me. And so that's what they would do. And eventually, it's like, just like the diminishing returns on residuals, eventually, sometime in the future, it's going to be like, we paid him how much?
Tony, the last time, if I was doing some research on this, and obviously there's been so many different reports, the last time that the WGA went on strike was 15 years ago.
I don't remember, to be honest with you. I don't think. Well, it might. You know what? Yeah, you might be right. I think it was 15 years ago.
So
right.
what was, how long was that strike? Do you recall that at all? How did that affect you as an actor? How did that affect
it didn't
the
really
process?
affect me as an actor, because I was doing the closer at the time. So as soon as they settled their all their mishigas, we went right back to work.
Now, what about now? Right. So they've been on strike for 4 months. Some of our guests in our next episodes, we're going to be talking about how it's affected filmmaking, and that the fall season right now is pretty much gone for anything scripted. So they come back, say in a week or two, it's settled. What happens?
Well, see, but that's okay. This let me answer your question with two answers,
Please.
or part A, part B. Part A is that there's no longer like the fall schedule, because they're hell bent on getting rid of network television as a venue to watch shows. I mean, they're still going to do it for a while, because they said, the baby boomers eventually they're going to be gone. No, that's not true. People below baby boomers, Generation X, they come home from work, they sit down in front of the TV, they click on it. They don't want to go to some like Amazon or Apple and like go through the shuffle through. They just want to go Channel 2, Channel 4, right. HBO, TNT. They just want to do that and sit back and have a drink and then go to sleep, watching a show. That's all they want to do. But at the end of the day, this is what they think, they can by doing this streaming stuff, there's no longer really a season, because a show can premiere on let's say Apple, it can premiere in January.
And now a season can be 6 episodes, right? A full season could be 6 episodes.
You can download you can what they call binge watching.
Right.
You can do that. Some shows still release their show, like my girl and I, we love
Ted Lasso did that.
We love the Murders in the Building. We love watching that show.
Right. Yeah.
So they release those. They don't release them all at once. Same thing with Hacks on HBO, which I love that show too.
You got Billions and Hacks. Yeah, I mean, there's a choice, right? There's a dump it all, and here's all
Gene
10 episodes
on
of
Hacks.
What's that?
Gene Smart's on Hacks.
So wonderful. Good.
He's wonderful.
I love it. It's old school, new school comedians. It's right.
I mean, the thing is, like, and you get, it's like, look, nothing against young people. I mean, like I watched, I watch some of these shows like Euphoria and the other one, Idol. I think it's called Idol. And I'm like, it just, I mean, I know it appeals to
But those are being released once a week, right? That's not like,
yeah, that's appealing to I think much more narrow audience than the broad audience that's available. And, because I always say when somebody's like 17 years old and they break up with their girlfriend or their boyfriend, it's like, oh my God, it's like, what are you kidding? You're 17 years old. You know how many times you're going to go through this? Jesus Christ. I mean, it's one thing if you broke up and the person happened to be like a spy and they were like, getting information to like, a foreign government, and then, or they were supplying, fentanyl through, that. But the fact that you break up with your girlfriend and you're going through that angst, it's like, no, sorry. Even when you're in your friggin' 20s, for God's sakes. I mean, come on.
I couldn't imagine being single at our age.
But then again, I'll tell you one thing though.
Oh.
I'll sit down and watch a show about a guy who collects buttons, and I don't care if the person is 15 years old, as long as it's got like a really good storyline,
right?
And interesting characters. Watch anything as long as it's instead of a lot of times you'll see some shows that are made specifically to an idea, and they may be cast along just types. But then when you have ones that are about a specific idea that the writer has, not that the network might have or the studio might have, and it's cast along people who you think are like really right for the role, then you wind up with some like really excellent shows. But then again, at the end of the day, it's like I forget the guy's name, the actor's name. And anyway, I sit around and I just say, you know what, my higher power, my higher, I just say, you know what, I know there's another show out there for me to do. Please, let it come. Let it be done locally, so I don't have to relocate if possible. But I'm willing to relocate if I have to.
As long as there are cops and mobsters, you will work.
Well, thank you, sir. From your mouth to God's ears. Like I said to somebody, they said, as much as I hate the cold, and I hate the cold, that's why I live in LA. And somebody said, if Crime Story shot, like in Alaska, where's the ticket? I'm ready. Let's go. I'll go, fight the Inuits
in a Fargo,
and shoot at the other guy, the other fur traders, or whatever the mob would be into up there.
So, Tony, what do you think is going to happen next? Now, I mean, WGA settles. How long will it take?
Hopefully they'll settle. Well, they have to, like I said, the 11,000 members have to.
But how long do you think it'll take for SAG to follow suit?
That's a $64,000 question. Fran Dresser is doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
She's a tough cookie, and and I don't mean that in a sexist way. These people sitting there taking notes. You hear what Tony Denison said? He called her a cookie. Oh God, let's bar him from the world. No,
you've been canceled. You're canceled.
Let's cancel him from Earth. No, see if you can get a job on the moon. No, she's tough. She's a tough character.
Yeah.
And, so she's like, okay, fine. You want to play, they're playing hardball. That's what they're supposed to do. That's what, I mean, even in Congress, you're supposed to negotiate. You're supposed to, it's not about like, okay, let's do it your way this week, and then we'll do it your way the next week. It's like people fight for stuff that they want, and the people have to be able to fight back. And that's what life's about. It's like compromise, communication, creativity. See what you come up with.
What do you think about the possibility of the striking for the video games?
Oh yeah.
I think that's good. Well, that's we all signed. We all voted. I don't tell people how I voted, but there was a vote that went around, and it was about the add on the video games. And
under the current, they want that under the current agreement that whatever is going to be negotiated. Right. Wow, right. Wow, and that's a lot. There's a lot of money in video games and the voiceovers. I mean, that's tremendous.
It's insane how many. If you go to YouTube, the most watched videos aren't music. It's not clips from films. It's people playing video games.
And that's just
that's why the what do you call it, the streaming and all those cards, I call them, that you go to the place and on the satellite and you see you see like Apple or Amazon or Hulu or all these places, Paramount, Peacock.
And
I think a lot of them have, like, you can download a lot of video games, and some of the graphics on those things are just like, really? Wow.
They're filmed.
But at the end of the day, it's still AI in terms of the thing. And what I don't fear about from AI is AI, if they replicated actors, AI doesn't can define the word, deception, but it
Right.
doesn't know how to act deception. Like when a director comes in and directs a play or directs a movie or a TV show, he says, listen, and when you come in, let's say the character said that he's lying to the other person. I want you to lie, but I want you to sort of laugh about it while you're lying.
Mm.
A computer would never know to do that. AI would never understand what that means. That you can be lying and lying, you could be laughing and lying, or you can be, your heart can be broken, and you decided to like, hey, whatever. That's what makes humanity something that you can't replicate with the machine. Maybe 25 years from now they'll get really, but I don't think that they'll know that.
They can't get the adjectives in the directing.
Yeah, you can't bullshit the bullshitters, as they say. Can I curse? Am I allowed to curse?
Oh, sure. Dave, we're allowed to curse, right? Okay. Yeah. See, yeah, really.
So that's what it's about.
It's
like it's so much. It's so. I mean, if you look at some of the stuff, like you look at Brando's stuff, some of his early Brando when he goes, and you think, oh my God, he's going to explode any minute now. A computer's not going to know that.
Right, and that's what makes some of the my son and I have been watching some great movies. We watched The Godfather, we watched Scent of a Woman, and there's moments in film where nothing is said. It's just the emotion, or it's the reaction of the actor or actress, right? And I said to and we were watching The Departed, and there's this towards the end of the movie when Leonardo DiCaprio's character it's his funeral, and Matt Damon is looking across at his girlfriend / wife, had no idea that she had an affair with him, and there was nothing being said, but they were on the opposite sides of the casket, and she's crying her eyes out, and Matt Damon looks at Leonardo DiCaprio's picture, by the casket, and then looks at her and does like 3 or 4 different takes, and it all came to him at that moment, right? To your point, Tony, AI is not going to be able to do that.
Well, and yet the other element in that is the brilliant camera work of Scorsese.
Yes,
to not over, to not, hit you over the head. Look at him, look at her. I mean,
it was just nothing was said, but you knew it. And I turned to my son. I'm like, that's brilliant directing. That's great filmmaking.
What Scorsese's wonderful at is subtlety.
Right.
He's so wonderful at subtlety. Spielberg, subtlety.
Yeah.
What's his name? The guy who directed Rain Man, Barry Levinson.
Right.
He's one of these when everybody talks about the greatest directors around. A lot of people don't mention him first or up in the top 5, but Barry Levinson stuff is like awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. And then like Sidney Lumet, like, you have to be, out of your diapers at least to remember who the hell Sidney Lumet is, but Sidney Lumet is like, and oh my God, there's so many directors out there that are just, even like the guy like John Ford, where they go, oh yeah, he was kind of like a, one of these like sort of Yahoo kind of guys. He's got the most Oscars of all the friggin' directors. John Ford. I mean, if you look at and every director you talk, the coolest directors on earth, when they're talking about this, yeah, well, I sort of borrowed from John Ford. I did that from John Ford, like David Lean, all of his movies, John Ford. Spielberg, for a fact, borrowed from John Ford. It's like when somebody's doing what's their names, the Coen brothers, also John Ford,
right.
And then they do that big vista, move back shot. I mean, this stuff is like really brilliant to watch. And what you do is you just put your own little spin on it, so that it becomes specifically your own. And this kind of stuff, I mean, I never tire of that stuff. I just never. I mean, there's a movie called The Big Lebowski. Have you ever watched that?
Oh God!
It is about nothing, but it is the most interesting movie. I mean, it's like it quickly went to my top 25 movies of all time.
Yeah,
The Big Lebowski.
If you try to explain what it's about,
it
makes no sense.
But when you watch it, it's universal. It's got a universal story, and it's
great characters.
And then when you hear like Jeff Bridges, who I've not ever met the man, but I've always been a big fan of his. Like I'd say, well, a really great actor is Jeff Bridges. They go, oh yeah, who? Oh yeah, Jeff Bridges. Then when he finally wins the Oscar, which was so overdue to him, then they go, oh yeah, Jeff Bridges, man, he's cool, he's great. Yeah, right. Thank you. Go home, I get your mother calling.
Tony, talk to us about some of the like some of the best experiences and some of the worst experiences. And you don't have to name names, but like, or just some of the funniest or best experiences that you've had, whether it be on TV or film, like some story, something that's kind of popped up.
I'll tell you two quick stories.
Please.
One is, you know, you like to think like, you know, as an actor from New York, you know, all that, you know, all that stuff.
Bravado.
Like you think like you're hip, slick, and cool. So two stories that happened. Well, two situations. Once when I was doing this TV series, which unfortunately didn't make it. It was called Undercover, originally called A Company, about the CIA, and it was a really good show. It was Linda Pearl and myself, John Rhys Davies, and John Slattery. It was good. And Casey Lemons. It was really a good. Colleen Flynn, a good cast, good movie, but just didn't make it, you know. But anyway, so we're on the back lot of Warner Brothers, and I'm looking down. This set doesn't exist anymore, and I can't believe they got rid of it. But I'm looking down the thing. I'm thinking, man, I know that place. There was like a livery stable, you know. I was like near the Weston Street on the Warner Ranch, and I'm thinking. So one of the crew guys comes over and he goes, "Does that look familiar to you, Tony?" And I go, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, it does." I said, "But I've never worked on the ranch before." He goes, "That's the livery stable from High Noon." I go, "Oh my God, High Noon!" I'm like a little kid, I'm running down. Oh my God! You know, and here I am, like, you know, yeah, I'm an actor from New York, from Harlem, you know, Sicilian, yeah, whatever. You know, and I'm like, "Oh my God!" You know, I mean, it just. And then another time, the same show, actually, the same series. I'm with Kevin Tighe, good actor, you know, and so Kevin and I are doing this scene. I laugh about it now. We're doing the scene, and we're supposed to be in an old age home, you know, like where his mother is, you know.
Right.
And we're walking through, and we wind up in this room, and we do like a 50-50 talk to each other, and they're shooting. The cameras are over here and shooting the two of us on a profile. And as I'm talking to him, I look over and I look on the TV, and it's The Third Man by Orson Welles. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, in my head, I'm going, how fucking cool is that? We're doing a show about spies, and The Third Man is on the fucking TV at the same time. So when suddenly they yell cut, I go, "You guys, you see that? The Third Man is on the TV at the same time we're doing the show." And all the crew looks at me and they go, "Tony, that's our feed." And I went, "Oh, I knew that. I knew that." I was completely like,
might have been on purpose.
I know. And then Tony, that's our feed. That's our video feed. And I was like, I knew that. I was just teasing you guys. I mean, but I was like, you know,
checking to make sure you
Mr.
guys
G,
knew.
Mr. Gable, you know, that kind of stuff.
That's
But
great.
then the one actor who I just I've worked with. I met a lot of people in the business, you know, a lot of celebrities and sports figures and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I never got a chance to meet Muhammad Ali. I heard he was a fan of mine from Crime Story.
Oh, it's awesome.
But yeah, this guy, Don Diamond from one of the soap operas, said to me, "So Ali loved you, man." I said, "You kidding me?" I said, because Marvin Hagler, like, he came up to me one day like I was the champ, you know, when I was in Vegas. But anyway, when we started the pilot, and Joe Wiseman, Dr. No, you know, The Unforgiven, you know, Duty Crab. I mean, he comes in, he's on the set, and I'm like, "Oh my God, that's Joe. I'm going to be working with Joe White." So I said, "Hello, Mr. Wiseman." He goes, "Please call me Joe." I said, "Oh, okay, Mr. Wiseman." He goes, "Tony, please call me Joe." I said, "All right, Joseph." He just looked at me, and I'm saying, I'm working with Joe Wiseman. I mean, and that guy was doing Broadway until he was 96.
Wow.
96 years old.
Could you imagine?
Tough character. I mean, and he taught me a lot of stuff. He says everything on the set, everything on the production is designed to destroy your concentration. So whatever you do, make sure, you know, you find your zone, you know, not that you have to sit in the corner. Leave me alone. Don't bother me. I'm a methadone actor. I need to get, you know, it's like, but it's just, you know, and so a lot of times I'll do that, and I'll just be the side. If I realize that my concentration is waning, I'll remember what Joe said to me back in 1986, for God's sakes, you know. And I'll still. And John Polito, God rest his soul, who was like family to me. He played Bartoli on the show. He was in. Remember Miller's Crossing? Stop giving me the hi hat. You remember him? Anyway, Johnny took me around the sets a lot of times, you know, and he would like say, "Stand over here. You feel that?" And I go, "I don't know." He goes, "All right, turn your head over here." And I go, he goes, "You feel that?" I said, "Yeah, but I don't know what." He goes, "That's the light. Get used to feeling the light on your skin. And when you turn over here, you're out of the light. You can feel your skin." And so he would have me do that all around the set, turn and like just feel the heat of the light, so that when you're on you're on your mark, as long as you know you're being lit. Let's say if they're not totally crazy with your position, but as long as you know you're being lit and the light's on you, a lot of times they may keep that shot, even if it's not like, what the director wants.
Right.
And so the little things like that you learn, and I, to this day, I still remember them. I still remember them. And I don't want to ever forget them. I don't want to become so like, jaded that, oh yeah, you can't tell me anything. I want to learn everything. I mean, Julie Bavasso, my acting coach, who helped me get Crime Story, recommended me to Bonnie Timmerman and then obviously to Michael Mann. She used to say, everything when you're doing a show, she goes, even though you're playing a mob guy, this like every mob guy is different. You got to find that individual thing that reaches you for you so you can, and just remember to do that all. Do your work, and then go to the set and have a ball. Go home, do your homework, and then go to set and have a good time.
Now, probably more on the film side than on television, but have you ever been on a set where you really feel it's not going well? And then when you saw the finished product, you were blown away that they pulled it off?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I don't want to say the movie.
I'm not sure if you're allowed to right?
Yeah, no, but I mean, the thing is it's not happened a lot because, one thing I brought to my life because of my dad is, he used to say to me, Anthony, if you don't know the answer to this is I'm talking about a guy from Sicily who's a truck driver. He said, Anthony, if you know the answer, if you have a question and you don't know the answer to the question, you got to ask. He said, because the embarrassment of asking is nowhere near the pain of not knowing. So my whole life is dedicated to that.
Good advice.
So when it comes to acting, a lot of times I'm going to think, I'll ask the Tom Snyder question, like if I'm a tree, what kind of a tree am I? I mean, I sometimes I don't know. And then I got payoff on that when I was doing a TV movie with Susan Day. It was called I Love You Perfect. And Tim Reed was in it, the guy from Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid and Lonesome Doves, great cowboy actor. And so he was telling me a story one time about how when they were on the set of Lonesome Dove and they were all like trying to figure out how to do the scene. And Tommy Lee Jones wasn't in the scene, but Robert Duvall was. So he was like, what are we doing? He said, well, let's go ask Robert Duvall. I mean, he's the guru. He's the main guy. So they go over to Robert Duvall and they say, Robert, you're the sensei over here. What? And he said, well, we were working on The Godfather, Pacino, and what's his name? Khan and a couple other people. They were stuck in this one scene. And they said, well, let's go ask Brando. It's Brando. They go over to Brando. Brando goes, fuck, I know. He says, let's go ask Coppola. So
moral of the story, always ask up.
Yeah. So I look at my director is my, he's my sensei on the set. I'm, and if I don't understand what he wants, I gotta know. I don't think I've ever said only once in my whole entire life did I ever say a line that I wasn't really sure. I was kind of sure about what the backstory or what my sort of my verb was connected to that line. But other than that, it's not a line of dialogue I've ever spoken. Comedy, drama, doesn't matter. Horror movie, doesn't matter. Without me understanding the why of it. Usually I can figure out the why a lot of time, but when I can't, I go right to the director. Hold on a second. Let me let my cat out of the room. Go ahead, go. That's Archie boy. He's my oldest. Nice. Boy. Dolly is our youngest.
Well, I'll say this: it was an absolute pleasure working with you on Unsuited.
Well, thank you.
And you were a true professional. Buddy. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. You were a true professional. I'm very pleased of the friendship that I've created with you, and you're a great guy to talk to, and coming on our show here. Just before we wrap up, we're going to be asking this question of all of our guests, and it might be a hard question to answer. Give us your top 3 films.
Top 3 films?
3 films that if gun to head, you'd watch.
I have to give them to you like right away, or should I like think? Ponder?
You could think. We could cut this up. Okay.
Casablanca.
Okay. Nice.
Oh.
See, it has to be 4. It has to be 4.
All right. Okay. All right.
We got a tie. You can have a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Okay. Godfather. It's a Wonderful Life. Casablanca and Chinatown.
Wow, you want
Excellent.
some very
Excellent.
classic.
And you can put in for number 5. You can put in Godfather Part 2.
What about Godfather Part 3? Just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah. No. I mean, look, you know what? He took a shot.
He took a shot. Well, Andy Garcia was the best part of that whole movie. Of Godfather 3. Well, Tony, thank you so much for coming on, man. And we're gonna have you on again, 100,000%, right?
Yes, definitely.
Because I feel like we just scratched the surface. That you have so many stories to tell us.
And I got one little quick story, if you don't mind.
Of course.
No, please.
Sometimes maybe this is to actors, maybe also some directors, whatever. But sometimes when I'm not feeling like, I'm thinking like, that's it. My life's at the 12th of never, and that's the end. I'm not going to work again, And I'm sitting there, and so I think, okay, rather than go to a party of one, pity party, like I'll think, let me watch a classic movie. Like I have my top 25 of all time, and one of my top 25 is a movie called Network. And so I thought, I'll watch Network. I haven't seen it for about like 6 months. I said, so let me watch it. Not to say that I'm in, I go through these moods that often.
I was going to say.
But anyway, so I said, let me watch Network. So then I go to read a little something about it that I didn't know. So I'm reading about Network. Did you know that Peter Finch, who played Howard Beale, okay, and won the Academy Award, I was mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. He was the 5th choice for that role.
Really?
So
wow.
He lived in, I think, Australia at the time, or he was from Australia. And so his agent calls him up and says, well, Peter, I've got good news and bad news. He goes, you're on the list for Network. He goes, but you're 5th on the list. He goes, number 1 is Henry Fonda. I mean,
wow.
Henry Fonda's ahead of you. You think, oh my God. Number 2 is Paul Newman. Number 3 is Marlon Brando. And number 4 is George C. Scott. In the meantime, William Holden, another actor, people.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's brilliant beyond words, but it's just so effortless. Anyway, so they wanted him for Howard Beale. And he said, no, I want to play Max Schumacher. I'm fine with that role, because he also got nominated too. But anyway, the thing that's so funny is all 4 of those guys said no. So like, if you're an actor sitting there, because sometimes my agent will call, well, you're number 2 on the list. And I go, do I know any mob guys I can call up and maybe get these guys to do I know any tough, do the thing like in Johnny Fontaine? What did Johnny Fontaine put you up to this? When he goes to see him about the movie. But it's like, I'm like thinking to myself, I used to think, number 2, number 3 on the list. And when I heard that Peter Finch was number 5, number friggin' 5, and the only thing he knew was that he heard from somebody reliable that George C. Scott had known about the project and wasn't really that interested in it. But he wasn't. So on the basis of that, when he heard that Henry Fonda said no right away, he immediately got on a plane, flew to New York, and was ready to meet with Lumet and Cheskevsky, the writer. And he, when they went to George C. Scott, he said no. They said, okay. So he was there in New York. And they said, oh, great, you're here. And he goes, listen, I'll read for you. If you want, no, you don't. No, I want to read. I want to show you some ideas I have. And they said, okay. And they said, well, that's great. I mean, that's really an interesting idea. We like that a lot. But we were going to go with you. They didn't say you're number 5.
Yeah.
You're the guy. You're the one that we want. But and he wins the Academy Award. So I tell people, like directors or actors, even writers who are waiting to see if they're going to get hired or something, and they say, well, on the list, but they just. Peter Finch was on the list of 5. And if you have like Paul Newman and Henry Fonda and Marlon Brando ahead of you, just 3, you think, I'm going to go fishing, I mean, that's why wait around to see number 5? And so fairy tales can come true. It can happen to you if you're young at heart. And that's what the entertainment industry is about. It's about being young at heart and young in mind.
And just keep plugging away. Keep plugging away.
No, because you know what? William Goldman said it best in the Adventures of the Screen Trade. Nobody knows anything. Nobody knows anything.
Right.
So
it's true.
Anyway, sorry. Thank you for allowing me to go over. I apologize.
No, that's okay. No, we
I like the colors of your backdrop. I said, what kind of blue is that? That's a nice.
So
blue.
we're these episodes of 624 Pod are being produced by Chop Sports Media here in Matawan, New Jersey. So this is their studio, and we absolutely love it here. And,
Those nice colors, that blue and black.
Yeah, they're awesome colors. They're really awesome colors. And Dave Sturcio, our producer, he's one of the owners here at Chop Sports Media, the owner,
nice
and he
colors.
does a great job here. So we're, we love it here.
Anyway, guys, God bless. Have a great show. Please, Unsuited. I had a ball working on that show. It's a really good show, and I hope it runs for like 7-8 years.
We got some potential news coming up, so I'll keep you posted on that, Tony.
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming on. Before we wrap up here, Mark, let me just make a shout out.
Do I get any money for this, or
no.
do I get a prize or a hat or something? Or
I'll send to you. I'm sending you some material, but we've got these 624 production hoodies.
Oh, cool! I'll wear it.
That we'll send out to you.
I'm not like some actors who go to the opening of an envelope, but I mean,
and actually, anybody who's watching and or listening, you can go to www.624productions.com, and you can order a hoodie. There's T-shirts, there's mugs. So we'll send something out to you, Tony. But just before we close out, I just want to mention our sponsor is the Cream Ridge Golf Course and the Roost. It's out in Cream Ridge, New Jersey. Golf course is amazing. 18 holes, beautiful, beautiful golf course. I've played on there a number of times. And then the restaurant that's owned by the Cream Ridge Golf Course, it's called The Roost. Go there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. They got live bands, live entertainment, and the food's great. So we're really happy that they came out to sponsor our show.
Jersey, is it near where we filmed?
Nowhere near where we filmed, but it's but I can get you next time you're out here. I'll get you out there. We'll hit the links, and then
sure. I mean, I'm not I'm like one of these guys. They always say, wow, my God, you're great. You said you were terrible, and then they say, wait till the next hole, and they go, oh, I see. Okay,
I always tell people I usually throw my clubs farther than the ball. So
yeah,
I'll drive the golf cart.
Tony, thank you so much, man. And
thanks for having me. I had a ball. It was great.
You got
I
it.
felt like I had a bowl of alphabet soup, and I just kept talking.
No, it's fantastic. Thank you so much. Well, folks, thanks for listening in, watching 624 Pod, and we'll see you next week.